Previously, the great hero, Blade, lost 99% of his powers after defeating the Demon Lord, so he joined the Hero Academy to live a normal life and make friends. But there he unknowingly made a harem of nice waifus and recovered his power up to 30%, but Doctor warned him that if he ever used more than 15% of his power he could die. So Blade started to manage every bumps he gets in his school life with only 15% of his power. So, as the story progresses, there was a smooth robot waiting outside the academy for someone, and Claire got fond of it and began fawning all over it. It had been there for a week now. So it showed them Blade's hologram, but Blade was in middle of meditating in the arena and Ku got bored and attacked him, but she was thrown off from the power. So Blade told her he wanted to increase his fighting spirit since he can't use more than 15% of his true power. Their girls brought over that robot to him and Blade instantly drew his blade and broke it off into pieces, but it was still active and scanning Blade. Blade told Ernest it's a guardian so it will come back even if it's been destroyed a million times, and Blade's word came true as the guardian was waiting on that same spot for Blade. That guardian was scanning and chose to change into a girl to arouse the male instinct inside of Blade. She then suddenly got ready for an attack and Blade used his sword skill several times to shatter it into pieces, but after some time at noon she was back to normal. Blade wanted to break her again but Ernest stopped him, so Robo tells them she only wanted to observe him right now so she can kill him later on. Blade proved himself. Yet Claire tells her to take classes with them to learn and defeat Blade together. Claire saw her code name and named her Iona, and Iona was on board with that offer. So the classes begins to find a way to beat the crap out of Blade. Then, Iona tells them how Blade infiltrated her intimate zone several times before. She actually meant her guarding zone but no one knew that and Blade got labeled as a perv, so Blade justified himself that he trespassed into Royal Library which she was guarding. Just to look for the info to help Ernest and her Demon Blade problem. Ernest got flustered. Blade did it for her but Iona tells her Blade did the same thing 13 more times before. So Ernest abandoned her feelings, so Claire and Jessica thinks he's a lecher, plus Mao is on their side, so Blade got picky that everyone kept teasing him and leaves. So Sophie followed him and Blade tells her Iona can't be destroyed because her soul resides somewhere else, whereas Urza pointed out that Blade doesn't hold back because Iona can't die. Which Ernest knows very well how rough Blade can be, but Urza brings them to main topic on how to defeat Blade, so Iona thought of using sexy charms of a girl so that Blade could go easy on her. But she looked too precious that Ernest and Claire couldn't hold back, but Urza had already thought of a plan, which is to put Iona's main soul into her heart. And after knowing that Yoan could get destroyed, Blade won't lift a finger on her. Then, at the arena, Yoan challenges Blade, but she first tells him she broke off her connection with the mother unit and placed her main soul onto herself so she can get destroyed from now on. She took his hand and shoved it at her weak point, so Blade is now hesitant to fight and Iona takes the advantages of this sweet chance. Seeing that crowd were supporting Iona to see Blade getting beaten up, but Blade just used his hand of air but wind's pressure didn't faze Iona, there. Iona took the edge once more and thrashed Blade strongly enough to put a dent on the ground. Blade's nature to not hurt anyone was holding him back. So Yoan won in the end and the crowd roaring Iona's name which filled her heart with happiness. But in the canteen she didn't have much of an appetite. Blade was surprised she could eat in the first place, so Ione tells them she has parts that converts food into energy, but she had a problem she can't solve herself. Normally, she would connect to her mother computer and solve that problem, but recently, she restored her connection with main unit. Yet mother computer refused to accept Yoan because she acted independently to defeat Blade, so she wants Blade as her master. And if he rejects the bomb inside her would self-destruct without a master, so Urza confirms they only had 84 hours to change her master, so Blade had no choice but to accept her. And from then on Blade got a new addition in his harem, and she began to serve Blade like a real maid, but Blade was not excited since it feels like his freedom got sold out. But Ku is fine because she gets to eat free food, but Sophie is turning darker with all of this. Well, for those who don't know, Sophie is a clone created by an organization to duplicate Blade's power, and as a result of a defect, she was programmed that everyone is giving her a command, and it had imprinted on her character. And now Iona was doing the same with the same expressionless face just like her, so Sophie got prickly that Blade never gives her any command. So the competition begins to see who serves Blade the best. Sophie took the cosplay of a cat and Iona took the bunny get up, but the winner wasn't decided. So this time, they started to have a pure fist contest with no magic or power allowed, but they got bored and broke the rules, so Blade waxed them and stopped their match. Then the girls took it to the bath to serve Blade, but Blade had enough of it, and yet the girls followed him to the bedroom with nighttime cosplay outfit, but Blade falls to sleep. Then the girls realize no one can win this and puts the competition to rest, but Iona is fine with it, because all this time she was all alone in the dark place and only Blade came to visit her. Sophie was the same, being an experimental subject, and thrown into a dark chamber was her life. Their situations weren't that different. But one thing was the same, that Blade was always present for them. Yoan then tells Sophie that she likes her, so Sophie was confused but didn't feel bad about it. And Blade heard everything and got relaxed. Their complications were sorted out. Then the next day Blade randomly thought of looking at the time bomb. So Iona couldn't refuse and showed it was still ticking. It turns out making Blade her master just slowed down the timer, but it didn't stop at all, and now she only had 20 hours left. Iona started to have human feelings and wanted to enjoy her last moment with her friends, so the class threw a party for her in the night and a big feast to make that night as enjoyable as possible. And now it was time for her to say her goodbye, but she didn't want to be separated from them. But there, countdown goes 0 and yet nothing happened to Iona. Then our boy suddenly pops out from the ground, so Ernest scolds him for ditching out, so Blade told her he begged the mother computer to spare Iona and take her back in again. And Iona felt her connection with the mother got back online and her ticking bomb has been stopped and she could live her life with them again. So with that, episode 8 comes to an end, but stay tuned to watch more of the newly aired episode of this anime. Take care.